COP30 in the Amazon has delivered both hope and frustration. In the next few minutes, I'll break down what actually happened at this nature COP, the wins, the setbacks, and what it means for all of us. I'll talk about why these negotiations matter to your everyday life and how we can act, even from the sidelines, to shift the balance towards a climate-safe future. First, the good. Progress and positive momentum. COP30 has shown a spotlight on solutions that work. Over 80 countries from the EU to small island states publicly called for a roadmap to phase out fossil fuels. That's an unprecedented political signal, even if the final text fell short. As a nature COP in the Amazon forest, protection was front and center. Brazil has showcased progress on reducing deforestation, while global commitments like the Tropical Forest Forever facility aim to financially reward countries that keep forests standing, with at least 20% of funds earmarked for indigenous peoples and local communities, the most effective forest stewards. We have also seen action beyond words. The Blue NDC Challenge brings ocean solutions into national climate plans, and global coalitions are mapping ways to quadruple sustainable fuel production and green industry development. But then there are also the bad things, frustrations and setbacks. But COP30 also highlighted persistent roadblocks. Fossil fuel phase-out remains a sticking point blocked by a few major economies. Climate finance, the lifeline for developing nations to invest in clean energy and adaptation, remains inadequate. And while the Paris Agreement NDCs are reaffirmed, current pledges still point towards around 2.5 degrees Celsius warming, far from the 1.5 degrees Celsius target we need. Forest protection faces similar challenges. While we have pledges and recognition of indigenous land rights, there is no concrete binding roadmap to halt deforestation by 2030. Funding gaps, limited policy integration, and safety concerns for environmental defenders leave an implementation gap that still must be closed. So, why does it matter to everyday people? You might wonder, this sounds so far away. Why should it matter to me? The reality is that COP decisions ripple into our daily lives. Delays on fossil fuel phase-out and adaptation finance mean higher energy costs, more extreme weather, disruptions to food systems, and worsened air quality. Conversely, clear commitments, real economy actions, and public accountability can stabilize energy, protect forests, and support resilient communities, including yours and mine. Even small actions matter. Talking about climate issues, supporting transparent journalism, voting for climate-aligned leaders, and joining or backing civil society campaigns all help create the political space negotiators need to act. So, what are the ways forward and what are the lessons learned? COP30 reminds us that the process itself needs reform, moving from a consensus-based approach where a few countries can block progress to a broader voting model could prevent future deadlocks. Initiatives like the April 2026 Colombia-Netherlands Summit aim to keep pressure on fossil fuels phase-out, and citizens-led tools like climate litigation and civil disobedience remain critical when governments falter. Calling out hypocrisy and holding the process accountable while continuing to demand transparent, science-based climate policies is part of what we all can do. And let's not forget the lessons from the Amazon. Indigenous land rights, forest stewardship, and financial mechanism can make real-world impacts if implemented properly. So, some final reflections. COP30 shows us both the urgency and the complexity of climate action. Wins like increased indigenous participation, forest funding commitments, and political signaling towards fossil fuel phase-out are important steps. But the gaps, finance, implementation, and procedural obstacles remind us that vigilance, engagement, and persistence are essential. Let's carry these lessons forward into COP31. Speak up, act locally and globally, support transparency, and amplify the voices of those on the front lines. Change is possible when ordinary people show up. Consistently, patiently, and with care. Because the future isn't shaped by the loudest voices, but by the most persistent ones. Thanks for watching and see you again soon.